Well, by all means, I understand if everyone can't stick around, all two of you. This is the first day of the new setup, and the idea is that I'll be able to turn on the camera and everybody can hang out. I'll also be doing the short videos on YouTube still to show the individual items, but when I've got a workflow in front of me, I figured why not let everybody tag along. I will be glancing up at the comments. I've got my little comments up here, and I've got a ton of work to do. So this is a great opportunity in real time for people to see how I sharpen and how long it takes. And come on now. Nice. I think I just have to kind of talk in that direction. And honestly, this is a great motivation for me because I've already got the place cleaned up and a sign up. I'll put a different sign up probably the knife sharpening sign. And then I'll get my dust extraction going. But this is day one of the new system. That's cool. I think kick is going to become a large force to be reckoned with. So here's a great example. We got some shears. Oh, you did the thing with the giant thing? That's awesome. So these are so dull. But you can feel. You never want to sharpen on the inside of a shear, but you can feel the upper surface is just. It's like a butter knife. It's soft and smooth, and you don't want that. You want to feel a crisp edge, and there is no damage. These have been very carefully not to hit any staples. This is for a professional upholstery drapery friend of mine. But what they need is a crisp edge put on them. And he's cutting upholstery fabric, so it's a coarse fabric. So I'll come in and I'll angle it down just a little bit, about that 15 degrees. If you want a big burr, go edge trailing. If you want a smaller burr, go edge leading. And then you just close that burr off. I tend to go edge leading because I can use the light to check for any damage or any reflections. By not pressing too hard and by moving quickly, I'm also not grinding off a ton of material. And when the burr is on there, then I just kind of pinch it open. Wouldn't call it a rookie mistake, but I'd call it a fairly common mistake that sharpeners do is they actually over polish things. Maybe it's coming from the whetstone background and things like that, but they tend to go too high on the grits, or they polish too much and they polish all the bite off, and sometimes they actually polish the sharpness off of that surface. That's just been my observations. That is not meant as a dig to anybody. There's 4 pair of scissors for my friend. I think we got a pocket knife here. I kind of left it over here. What do we got? Ooh, big old Kershaw. And this has got a recurve in it. And so I can't really go edge leading into that recurve unless you're very careful. But what I'll usually do with a recurve is I'll go edge trailing on that corner. And then do the rest. It's trailing in that corner pocket, and then it's leading the rest because I still really like that bite. There's really no substitute for it. If you want to blend the bevels together, you can use a little bit of it. Easy now. Get out of the way. Lightly touch on the bevel to Scotch Brite and satin polish that into a blended edge. For cosmetics. And that edge is stupid sharp. So with all the pocket knives, so what I did is I Scotch Brited down in here, but I keep that edge so it's shaven sharp, but it's really more on the toothy side. You can look at that, and that's a heavy use knife. They want to cut things with it. They don't want to split hairs. They want to cut rope and stuff like that. Okay, that's done. Let's see who else we got done. Here's a single one. Ooh, nice. Put it down there. The old Tramontina, or what they call Coalina cleaver. And we're just going to do that slack belt right in through here. I do want a little bit coarser of a belt on there. Usually like an 80 grit. 50 grit will work, but 80 grit's good. I do have the curved platen on there. If you're worried about overheating the edge, put some water on it. Don't see the water evaporating. Two steps. So I brought up the burr, convex the edge at a low angle, and then I satin polished for good looks. 600 grit wheel. that burr fly away. Medium hard polishing wheel. That should put the best score down in about the 100 range. And so you got satin polished and it's sharp. And it's sharp. Now, for the big job of the day, oh, I got some basic kitchen knives. Nice. One wannabe hunter knife in there. These are all commercial grade. Woohoo! That weighs about 4 pounds. Look how thick that is. I wouldn't want to swing that all day long, that's for sure. Oh, cow. Whatever. All right, so you take each knife, case by case. That one's going to need special attention for sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Apologies if I keep trying things out here. No, that's not going to work. That'll work. That won't work. There we go. Hoping I can show this on camera. You guys can actually see the light reflecting back on that edge. I know it's hard. I'm going to get the microscope hooked up too, so we can hopefully we'll be able to do that. But I don't want to mess with the camera right now. But that edge is so dull. Looks like a pull-through scraper did it. So it might take a couple extra swipes, but what I do is I just push in a little harder. But I keep the blade moving always. Put that back in, that little coil. All of them are about that dull. This cuts in a clean, fresh bevel. There's a little bit of a heavy choil. Drop that down so it's all in alignment. Good profile. Lots of material above the cladding, the obby. Down and back, down and back. The minute I feel a burr, bring the tip back in. That's a Cubitron P120. This is a Trizac A30. 600 to 800 grit, depending on where you look. Down and back, down and back. What we're doing is we're just doing that refinement step. I'm making sure that this angle is a little bit more by making sure it's a little bit steeper, you're always going to hit the apex. And all we're doing is refining that. Sometimes I'll just take and bump that little back tip so that's not extra sharp. You want it to be a little bit more sharp and less toothy, hit it on the leather wheel, but lightly or else you'll buff all the tooth off. Here's another cool way to do it is start by going away from the edge and finish. So while you're setting this one down, you can reach for the next one. Think about things like that. So instead of going right to left and then going back to right, if you just come in and you go left, right, you're already in position. You think that doesn't do anything, but if you do 100 knives and you don't have to do that extra second, you just saved a minute and a half. I can do 3 knives in a minute and a half, and so that's an extra 20 bucks. All right, these are ready to go. And then we got the big chunky boy to finish with. For all it's super chunk, it's actually just a convex beveled edge knife. I'm going to do an edge leading in the slack. Oh, I see a burr come up because I had the light. The other thing to think about is all the heat that goes into this knife, because it's such a big chunk of metal, that chunk of metal will pull that heat away. And it's not even, it's still cold to the touch. Literally cold to the touch because this metal is so big. There we go. Always the same. Maybe I'll bring my test paper phone book over here. I don't like cutting small pieces, but I will make sure to wipe it down. A big knife like this, I won't run my hand against the blade. I'll put the paper down and then I'll do that. Here we go. Okay, I got one more big batch. I saved the best for last. These are all beautiful knives in great condition. I've sharpened them before, so they're already at my angle. Here's a single bevel. Tommy Koto. Yeah, cool guy. The delay is cool. It's only about 1 second. I'm going to swap out this abrasive. And only if you promise not to tell, I've actually got a new abrasive I'm testing out to see how durable it is. We might be adding this to the mix called a house blend. Yeah. How's everybody doing out there? Let me know how it's going. I'm not sure if that's going to show up on camera. Sure looks like a Trizac, but it might be, we might be calling it my Zac. I've not seen anybody else respond either. Sure, Maiden. I'm not seeing any other comments at all. Oh, I see. Oops. I blew it. Hold on. There we go. Yeah, I don't think... it's very similar. Slightly different color. All right, we're ready to go. Brand new wannabe Cubitron, brand new wannabe Trizac. At some point, there will be laser etched in. But the other thing is this angle guide is longer so that you can't see on the back. My suggestion is to use a digital angle guide or an angle protractor program in your phone, and then get those angles locked in, and then make your own marks on the side. We will get there. I need to get a laser etcher, but the size of the angle guide itself makes it a little tricky because the other one used to have a little line in the frame, and now the new angle guide covers that up. The main thing is to be consistent with where the guide is, and then make sure the second one is just tipped up just a half a degree higher. That's the most critical. That half a degree higher part is the most critical part on the second step. And if you ask why, I can explain it, but so the single bevels are getting a little bit higher polish. Also, I know this customer pretty well. Super nice guy. He's got some beautiful pieces up there. In fact, I just did a YouTube short, and I'll upload it here in a little bit. He wanted to know if his knife was sharp, so I pulled out the best tester, and it popped an 87 out of the box. Yeah, you could say that's sharp. Nice. Okay. That's another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 knives. These were all Kamikoto or Shun. Part of the reason why this sharpening process goes so quick is because we're just sharpening the apex bevel. The primary grind, whatever you want to call it, to make it confusing. The edge bevel. These don't need thin, they're already thin. They come to 0. So we just put a bevel on there that looks exactly like the one that came from the factory. We don't grind off a lot of material. And we are running out of room here, kids. My goodness. Let's set it down there. I'm going to have to bring these back over to here. Here's a cool one. This is a beautiful hand-polished wooden. He said this is from the 40s or 50s, and it's a carving knife. These are just amazing. We don't have cool, and it fits. It fits just like a glove. Like there's no wiggle. It's crazy. So we're just going to sharpen this one blade very gently on the 2-inch grinder. No, just kidding. I do see where light is reflecting back, so it is dull. straight across. Follow the profile at the tip. And stop. There's no need to remove any more material now. I can feel the burr. We saw it remove the material. Should probably just put a little garbage can right over here. There we go. Ooh. I saw a guy do his sharpness test the other day. It was like this. He's just ripping it down through. I shouldn't make fun of people. Forget I did that. Enough people make fun of me. All right, that's cool. Here's the one that fresh out of the thing popped an 87 on the best test. Mirrored flats, which I respect, and then he kept the grind lines on the sides, which I also respect. Took it down to a 0 grind, and then put just the finest of whetstone edges on there. Really nice grind. Really beautiful. Hopefully the camera's focusing. I imagine it is. This one seems like it's doing good. Anyways, we're not doing anything to this. Just showing you guys. Made from a guy in Bali. Single bevel. Stand back. The belt guys got out some whetstones. Look out. So it's a single bevel. I'm just going to hit the back. I'm just curious to actually see. I don't see an established thread line or ride line on the back flat. So I'm just going to there it is. It was just hiding. Okay, just do a couple more strokes. Least amount of work you can do on the back, because you'll wash it out. You'll wash out that beautiful recurve, that hollow grind that's in there. Yeah, the more you do it on the back. They tend to take more use down here at the back end. Okay. Then I'll just go to the 3000 grit Naniwa diamond. This is more just to put the polish on it. Get some nice, clean, and I'm going edge trailing. I'm kind of pushing with my force as I'm pulling, because it's not going to matter. I'm going to cut that burr off. Oops. We actually have a fine ride line, or the Japanese word for thread line, right through there. The rest of it's still hollow. And maybe a little more mirror on it would be nice. I don't do the tiptoe thing with my fingers. I prefer just to hold it in position and move my entire arms as a unit together. You do you, boo. Okay. The other thing we've done in the past is we've done a differential sort of finish, and I've scuffed the upper part and satin polished the bottom part. I think I'm going to do the same thing today after we cut in the new clean bevel. We're going to freak out, but we're going to do it on the 120 grit. Very lightly. And that's it. We just took that existing bevel that's there and we just re-crispified it. Now I'm going to use this belt to go edge trailing on the back. Just to pull that burr down. And then I'll do it one more time. Very lightly. Edge leading. So what I'm doing is I'm pulling the burr this way, and then I'm cutting it off. And I pull the burr down and I cut it off. Twice seems to work for me. Then I go edge trailing. Get it with the leather. Then you want to angle match. If you don't have that down yet, you got to practice that. And this should be hair popping sharp. This is live stream, so let's see how live we can make it. Okay, phone book, stay. There's a breeze blowing. There it is. Oh. Okay. We're going to have to be quick. You guys see that? There you go. Straight up, straight down. Oh, what are some of the other cool tricks the kids are doing these days? Make it into a cone. No. There you go. Probably doesn't work as good with old phone book. Let's make it a little sharper. That's that last little bit. There might have been just a little bit of a burr left hanging there. I'm not sure if old phone book is the correct. Yeah, it doesn't like it. I mean, it'll do it, but it doesn't like it. All right, enough playing around. Oh, right. I was going to put a little satin polish on that main grind. I'm not touching the edge. What we just did is we just polished this surface right there. And we got our primary bevel right there. Primary, secondary. Depends who you talk to, really. So if you're a knife maker, which is what I started as, the first grind, the big grind, the primary bevel or the primary grind is what you grind in. The secondary bevel is the edge bevel or the apex bevel because it's the second thing you grind in. Now, if you talk to a knife sharpener, they'll say that this is the primary bevel because it's the primary one they sharpen. So, and nobody seems to want to change the terminology, so half the people call it one thing and half the people call it another, and nobody seems like they're going to do it anytime soon. Convex, apex. Blend and satin polish. Remove the burr. Final sharpen or final stropping. Wipe it clean. You guys want to see something funny? Sushi knife, you'd expect it to do push cut the phone book paper, but I don't know if this will show up on the camera or not, but that's a chunk of steel about a 1/4 inch wide, and it only tapers down here at the very bottom. No guarantees. It'd actually be better if it didn't. Nope. I pushed it. Oh, it still cut it though. I'll go from the other end. That was cool. Okay, let's see if it'll stay. No, of course it won't stay now. Stay. There you go. Ugh. Now he's just got that in his case with no sheath or anything on it. I think he said he hangs these up on a magnetic thing on the wall. So we'll just throw a little blue tape on there so they make it home safe. This one's dull. Almost finished. then I'm going to put micro serrations in this steak knife. If anybody else is watching this, they wouldn't mind dropping a comment. I'd like to make sure everyone's comments are showing up. Sheer Maiden, I appreciate all your support helping me on my first stream here. Yep, you bet. Thanks for coming in, and I'm just about ready to finish too. We'll do these again Tuesdays and Thursdays. Look for it. Have a great day. Bing. Last one. Nine, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Guys, that's about it for me today. That was a great starting setup. I think I'll change the background to the knife sharpening one, excuse me. And I'll review this back and see what I can do to change and make it better. If you guys have any suggestions or anything to how to make this stream better, please let me know. And I'll see you guys on Thursday.